Oh, you are here all the time.
Going ready to all the boards. That's the exciting life in Georgetown, right? What meeting do I have tonight?
I have a meeting tomorrow.
That pretty much is like everybody else.
Hey, Bob, is there a form for this review that you did?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay, I didn't know if you printed that up, because I was like, wow, that's pretty detailed.
Yeah.
Well, I found that it's,
Yeah, I'm not sure.
it takes, the form the form is fine, but then once you start typing in it, this took me a lot longer than it should have, because it doesn't format, so I wound up kind of retyping it.
Oh, okay. Nice. Where did you find that? In the office? Does Jen have that?
Yeah, I thought I made it up originally and sent it to her, so.
Okay, cool. Yeah, if you could share that.
I had a lot of lines that could all be handwritten, and then when I started typing over it, then formatting was, so.
I didn't email this one out, and then we got it after you picked yours up, and it's not in there.
Okay.
You do, okay. And then you guys need this, the last one we'll see.
Hello, how are you?
Sam's car. Today, and I forgot to look for it. It's in the backyard.
It's in the backyard.
You know, he and Oscar get to wrestle, and they just roll each other. And
At least it's somewhere there.
yeah, should be.
Should be.
Hi there.
Okay, I saw the comment.
Just taking the gingerbread off, changes the whole look of it.
Can you get in there?
Yeah, You came in here, it's right on my. I know, I can't tell you what a luxury this is, because I've been at home for a year on my little desk with the big computer on it, shuffling, and I've got stuff on the floor and stuff on the printer.
My cause is just on the floor.
Yes, well, on the stack on the trash case, stack on the printer. Like a school desk.
Yeah.
She's an athletic.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty sports.
Because the high school. No, I don't mean for like a real job, I mean like, when you're at all your meetings and that.
Do we have to wait till promptly 6 o'clock? What? Do we have to wait till promptly 6? Were you saying we should go?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Would you, are we ready, Jen?
Our first applicants are here, so.
Are we ready, Jen?
Yeah, we're ready, we're going.
Okay. Let's call the meeting to order, please, and take.
Joan Egan.
Here.
Sean Platt. Here. Cindy Neely. Here. Betsy Fleischler. Here. Mark Reynolds. Bob Hamilton.
Here.
Rick Ganser.
Here.
Can we have approval of the agenda? Do we have anything?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
All in favor?
Uh,
Audience business, is anybody here not on the agenda for tonight? Have something to discuss with us? Okay. And so, old new business, Mary Smith, 2130 Muscovite.
Hi, Robert Smith.
Okay. Well, I guess we can come up, take a seat, but you're about as up as you
I
can.
know we don't have a place to take
Yeah,
a
we're working
seat,
on it.
so.
We're working.
So we submitted pictures in the application. We're hoping to fence in our side yard on the west side of our house. It's on the corner of Muscovite and Clear Creek. We realize that there's a setback that we need to be concerned about for the corner, for the view. We want to just put a 4-foot split rail fence, so the pictures that I included are kind of what it would look like, just so that you've got that. And I believe you have a picture of our side yard. I don't know, so you have a view of that. So it would be, inside the yard, 20 feet from the both streets, Muscovite and Clear Creek, so it will allow a great amount of traffic that comes down that way to have a clear view of oncoming traffic. I don't know what else to tell you. What else would you guys like to know?
And
The fence in the zoning that you, on a corner, you have to back a fence in 20 feet?
From the corner, well, but the way our yard is set up, it's really not, it's not a big deal.
Okay, all right.
Because it kind of drops off, just so that we have the ability to, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, but most often we see fences that are sort of on property lines, and we understand that they have to be low
Yeah,
at the place that, so you see around the corner, if you're on a corner.
right, well, and we're on the corner, but it's gonna be set back enough so that you can still see
Yeah.
around the corner. The only place it will really be on the property line is on our back property line.
Yeah. So I
But
can.
because of the corner, there's not much back. There's 3 gates that we want to put in, one in the back, just so that we can access it. One in the front, and then one that would be on the Clear Creek side, but again, it'll be pretty much up 20 feet into our lot, or so,
So the fences would look like this one in the picture.
yeah.
And this is a flat board fence.
Well, it's a split rail fence, the gates are more the flat, but, and then well, some people call it gate fencing. To me, that sounds a little intense. Maybe like chicken fencing or whatever. And if you look at the picture. Really close at that picture, you can see
The wire.
the wiring inside, which is what you guys asked us to do when we put that in a gazillion years ago.
So this fence also will have the wire inside it.
Right, just to keep the dogs
Yeah,
inside.
but it
Or
will
the
be on
dogs
the
outside.
inside, not the
Yeah, it'll be
outside.
on the inside, so it'll be on our side, yeah, on the house side. Yeah,
3,
Page 81.
chapter 11, section 2. A,
1, transparent. It's not going to exceed 4 feet in height, so it's A2.
A4.
Yep.
B, which is appropriate fence
Yeah, wood.
materials are wood, iron, limestone, and plants. I would make a motion that we approve the application for a fence at 2130 Muscovite Drive as presented.
Yeah, and I would second that.
Is there any more discussion or audience comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Against.
You made 2 boxer dogs.
I know.
Very-
We'll invite you all over when we're starting to dig those post holes and so that we can all. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for.
You can stay.
Lots about the next one, if you guys-
Okay, Clear Creek County Gateway Visitor Center.
That's the signs, anybody
Uh-huh.
have the signs?
Yes.
Beth isn't here, she might leave, but.
Do we want to skip on and see if she shows up?
Yeah, I have a little bit of a question. These are informational signs. Do they, do informational signs come to this commission?
This is,
I mean,
it
it's,
says a permit, which we don't issue anyway, so I don't think we do. Maybe it's the position. Because remember when they came here to put the station in, we talked about where the signs were gonna be.
yes.
So I
So
think
they
they
may
checked.
want to double check. the
Yeah, make sure the
positions.
position
Okay.
is.
We'll come back to that, because I think in general, we don't do informational signs.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why these need to be 7 feet tall.
It's a big electric car if you use some good signs.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Okay.
they're often tall.
Uh,
Way down there.
Washington Mill, block 43, lots 1 and 2. No. Come on up and take the hot seat.
No, we're not on this tonight, but. We'll start here.
He doesn't expect us to be this quick.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it should be
Sure.
awesome. So soon.
He comes in, I guess, it's state of the art.
That's right. We'll just stop and do that. Okay. Please
And
state your
actually-
name and the address. Sorry.
I'm Tom Peterson, the architect, the address on the project.
Block 43, lots
Lots
1 and 2.
One
Oh,
and 2, yeah. I'm not
block
sure.
43.
It's not even the address, so we got Corner 10th and Main.
Okay, good. So this is kind of an amendment, actually.
It was yeah, we're back to review the garage. building.
Yeah, the accessory.
Basically.
Thank you for enlarging the drawings. Initially, our guideline, not our guideline, but the application says 1/4 inch, you know,
Right.
1/4 of an inch, and I understand from you that exceeds what 11 by 14 will be happy with? Is that the
Exactly, yeah.
problem?
Well, that's actually what then.
Because years ago, we used to say the 3/16, and as a matter of fact,
I do recall that, that's what I was, yeah, anyway, but yes, that was, I figured that would be appropriate scale as well, but which is the core.
Well, the interesting thing, part of it is that we were provided a long time ago. Do you remember those scales for buildings around town at
There it is.
3/16? And so if we have people come with 3/16, what we can actually do is say, how does it compare to this building?
Yeah, some of the houses in town are drawn to that scale.
They're not-
Aren't those, it's still in the back of your book?
No, this is 3/16. The new one is a 3/16, the one that's, new one you got in the package.
It says 1/8 on
Well,
There's a couple in there that are 8, but the full, I provided all the elevations at 3/16 scale, and then there's a couple at the end to give the scale of the two together, the north and the west, or the north.
Yeah, 'cause
Overall
I'm
north
looking
and
at
the
it.
overall south.
Yeah,
I have 3/16 as somebody.
Yeah, it's really interesting to say, okay, how does it relate
There's 3/16.
Yeah,
to this house?
Maybe it's just the garage one.
Yeah, it is definitely proportional, so it's nice to have, this house is built, this is the house.
But only you old timers have those in your book. I
Hey.
don't have them.
Really? They're way back, they're way back.
There you go.
Pretty sure. I think everybody's
I'm
had.
sorry.
They're all the way
They have
towards the
They're
back,
way back in the back.
they're way back in the back.
Okay, moving on. We're so easily distracted. Okay, so we have new drawings for the garage, which is what we're going to review here. Kids. Hey. sit down.
All right. Good.
Yeah.
Well, it's obviously a place I've never gone.
Haven't gotten that far with you. Okay, guys, so let's look at these drawings here. Do we want to just start with the west elevation? And it's, you can tell us what changes, if any, are.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I created a list here, so we can go down that list and which would pretty much be maybe the north elevation is pretty much
The
where
main
everything
one.
changed.
Okay,
So the angle supports, initially we had, so we did a reference
mhm,
sheet number, so we're all looking at the same thing. A 3.2C is the north elevation of the
Mhm.
garage. That's probably the easiest one to look at for now. So the center bump out above the garage usually has some angled timbers.
Yeah.
And a larger overhang, and also the triple windows above the center windows. So the angled roof supports were removed. We reduced the overhang, subsequent with that.
mhm.
And let's say the transom windows above were removed, there's a triple window above that was giving pause to the board here. Also added 6 inches, and if I can tell in this view that one window that's left in that bump out bay got 6 inches taller than it was. So, just to give it a little more height. Fill up some of that space. And then there's, the small roof over the entry, so we're looking at that north elevation. There's still some angled supports there, because we do need to support the roof above that, but we had reduced those to like a 45-degree angle, which you see on a lot of the roof overhangs versus the more elongated and shallower angled timbers. So, so that just try to run with more of what you see in the historical district. And then let's see. Modified the colors a little bit, just kind of went to monochrome paint on, for most of that, with just the trim and the base, just a little bit darker color.
Tom, does the color match the color of the back portion of the house?
It's slightly different in the model. Does the color of the ADU match
Yeah.
that corner of the house?
The board and batten part of the back of the house.
Yeah,
It's not the same color.
Okay.
I'm sure it could be. So we modified the color slightly on the house. I didn't go full on the same color as the ADU. But that's.
it's the same material though, is it not, on the back of the last, the back of the house, the addition to the back?
The house, we're still looking at a board and bat, standard board and bat. We did change the space to 12-inch spacing, so a little narrower than what you see built out there now. But it's a hardy board on the house. On the ADU, we're still looking at the rough sawn timbers that we brought in as an example last week, 2 weeks ago. A reverse board and bat is still what we're looking to do on the ADU.
But you were looking at painting work.
Yes, paint or a solid stain, I think is what's called out on that.
The trim around the windows on the ADU is a bit different than on the house. Looks like it's a smaller profile.
The trim around the windows,
Yeah.
it's the same as we have in the board and batten portion of the house. So it doesn't have like the pediment above the windows.
It looks,
And it is the same, it's the same size as a 4-inch trim, basically 3.5-inch wide trim around those windows. As is what we have around the house as well.
Did you change around the lights on the lower level? It seemed like there was 3 lights, 3 of those kind of gooseneck lights or. barn lights.
Yeah, we had, Mark was asking to, and I didn't, oh yeah, that goose, so the gooseneck light, he sent me that, he liked that as what he had at his house, he would like that style.
Uh-huh.
And so we put that over the single garage door. And it just didn't look right to do that. We had some wall sconces is what we had before.
Yeah.
Adjacent to the door, and yeah, Marvin wasn't overly, he preferred this option here with the gooseneck over the single, and then we just did can lights under that cantilever bay to direct light downward and towards the garage doors.
And how about your garage doors?
Garage doors are, we modified them, they are, I mean, you still see the X in there, I mean, and it's hard to tell in the image, but they were modified to a flatter panel in between those. Trims.
So they look like a carriage house kind of door.
That's what we're going for there.
But you're getting the X's out of there.
Pardon?
Are you
Those
getting the
little
X's
cross
out of
hatches
there?
on the doors.
The X's themselves,
Yeah, that's basically a crossbuck door,
a what door?
a crossbuck door.
Crossbuck, is that the?
But we're not doing that, right? Not the cross part.
Okay.
You didn't get that? Let's do half of it.
Yeah, well, yeah, and we kind of went to a flat panel in there. But Marv really liked this. We thought it reduced the size of the door to make them feel again more like a carriage, like a pair of doors that, are two vertical doors.
Yeah.
As opposed to one solid bigger door. So
Yeah.
Marv really preferred that. So we kept that for now and.
I think if it's supposed to look like a barn, I kind of like those doors. And then you don't see, but I do. I mean, it looks much more barny than 3 garage doors would.
Right. And those are little windows on the chart, right?
Yes.
So they'll basically have that configuration and look like 2 doors that would open this way.
Yeah, that would, or possibly even slide open. I mean, that's what it would look to be.
Yeah,
I feel like a horse.
Right.
Can we find that?
I know, I really like them, surprisingly, with 3 garage doors there.
You're
Is
putting a metal fence in?
And it's metal fencing, yeah, we added that to, between the house and the garage and around the front. So you can see those on there. Those shows that best in that.
So I think we're reviewing the fence then too, right? Because we were gonna, you gonna come back with that? Are you ready to do
Right,
that?
yeah, and Mark was giving me some images that he liked around town. This is one very similar to that.
Are you ready to review that then, or are you still deciding on it?
Pardon?
Are you ready to review the fence tonight, or? are you-
Yes, I
Oh,
believe
okay.
so.
Okay,
Yeah, I think Mark was happy with that one was.
okay. Is the wood pattern on the little bump out, is that the same as the rest of the walls, or it looks like it's more like tongue and groove or something?
It is more like a budded tongue and groove, like the backside of a tongue and groove, so it will look like it's just a budded board.
Okay,
But we like the vertical emphasis on that too.
yeah, well, and no color contrast, so. it's-
And yeah, we changed the color to the.
So the fence is iron,
Yes,
and it goes, from my pictures, it goes all the way from,
there's kind of a break on that north side. A bit, a lot of that's gonna depend on how that landscape finally shakes out, but we feel overall north elevation is about 3.4. It's actually the cover sheet.
okay,
Has that perspective view from Main Street.
that's really good. It connects that garage to the house, makes it look like it's part of the back of the property then. Okay. Are there gates or just openings?
Yeah, just openings, right now.
That's a 4-foot fence.
It's about a 2.5 foot fence, really on top of about a 2 foot boulder retaining wall. So it'd be
Okay, but as it comes around the side of the house, it's not on that retaining wall, correct? I mean,
It's
as it goes
still,
up 10th Street,
there's, I think it's like, might be a good view of that. Or those perspectives, kind of see it there on that cover sheet, but see on the site plan.
yeah, because I'm looking at the site plan and those boulders come around the front and go up part of 10th Street. And then he's got, yeah, but we're talking about the fence that goes from the house to the other one. Shouldn't shrink down to,
Oh, I see.
I mean, it's just,
Yeah, I think the way the grading works out there, that there'll be a shallower transition. It won't be as,
Yeah, we
a
don't-
drop off at the property line.
Yeah.
So there's kind of a boulder retaining wall. Let's see, if we go back to that north elevation probably. Yeah, actually, a 3.1 C, which is the north elevation of the house.
but there's
Hard to
no-
put it in the wall.
that has the boulder.
So it's similar height, I mean, so the height's about, again, like about half the table, similar to what's around City Park. As far as the height there, and then.
So that's not 3 feet, is it? Is it apartments?
It's 3, but it's not 4. So would you characterize this as an iron fence or a wire fence?
An iron fence.
It's an iron fence. It's sort of like,
Yeah,
it's right down the road here.
Mark,
It's basically a wrought iron fence.
correct.
Okay,
Yeah, not the wiry stuff.
Not the wiry stuff.
Is it a new product? So like, is it new, like, do you buy it someplace and it's got like steel, like
Yeah.
square picket knuckles in it?
Yeah. Yeah, there's on a 3.0.
3.0.
Here's a photo of, I'm not sure what address that is, that's one of the barber shop here in town, but something very similar to that. We haven't sourced, where to get this specifically. That's the intent, is to find something in that realm.
Okay, so it doesn't look like a real manufactured kind of thing, like ready-made kind of.
No, I think the intent is to look, more historic, more
Yeah.
of a artisan type
Mhm,
fence.
nice.
Okay. This is an accessory building, but it's also a garage, and we also have a fence, so.
The patio, it's a patio building.
That is a flagstone, I think we talked about last week or 2 weeks ago on that one.
Yeah, that's
There was a,
house, but there's one on the accessory
oh, on that, I'm sorry, yes, that one, I think we were anticipating, the exposed aggregate concrete hair and color.
Okay, you went back.
On the back uphill side, and that's actually accessed, look on the site plan, it looks kind of funny, that's actually. It's actually accessed from the second floor.
Right. And it's invisible, actually.
Yeah,
From any
you'd
street.
have to, I mean,
It's
from
totally
from Biddle, you'd
invisible.
be able to see it, if you're walking up there and looking down on it.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah. kind of.
You have to sort of be in the people's backyard. Okay, want to start with book 2 and page 51 well, it's section 3, yeah, it turns out to be page 52. B, a new fence or wall should be similar in character with those seen historically, and it is a wrought iron fence. And B1, it is transparent in nature.
The appropriate materials, wood, iron, wire.
Right.
I think we're good.
And then page 55 is garages, because while this is just one flooring unit, there's also a garage.
So does this garage dominate the streets?
No, it's not on the front of the house.
And it's an interesting question. If that street did not dead end right where it is, it would be a street scene, but
Okay.
you can't go through on that street. So it's an accessory building to the rear of their house. Yeah, that end of 10th Street is essentially their private driveway. Or the private driveway they're gonna share with the people who are across the street, but that's, yeah. So yeah, I would say that it does not dominate the street scene for the house. But it, on page 55, section 6, residential parking garages. C, a detached garage is preferred. And C1 located at the rear of the building. Set it back. And the material and detailing should be utilitarian, which is part of the reason we sort of trimmed it down.
Right.
And that's what?
And that's C3.
Okay.
And then it's an accessory building, so we have page 91. Section 5, and it's new accessory structures. A, located to the rear of the lot.
Is it subordinate size?
It's not subordinate, particularly in size, it is subordinate in character. And it tries hard to be similar to those who traditionally with rectangular forms and hip and gable. That's C and C1. Okay.
Traditional building materials. Which is
And a D1, where it mentions preservative treated stained wood siding, vertical board batten.
Two.
And again, utilitarian appearance.
E, maintain simple detailing.
Yep.
So B1 or B2 will apply.
Once again, we should say that all lights, which you know, need to abide by the dark sky. And the full cutoff. And
Bulbs are good. The size of the bulbs.
well, it's that the bulb has to be up inside of it.
Yeah.
Well, you can have a light that would be full cutoff if the bulb doesn't hang down, and so there's little short
We had
bulbs.
that problem.
Yeah, we-
Yes.
Yeah,
We've. Okay, problem already, so I think we've got it solved.
there's a few over there on that area. All right, anybody got a motion there?
I would move that we approve the accessory unit with the sidings noted. No stipulations.
Any more discussion or audience comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Against?
All right.
I like it.
Great. Thanks all.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Thanks.
Let's see. So was anybody here for Clear Creek County yet? No? Okay, Synergy Building Solutions. Come on, Don't come over there and sit on that. Row there for us. Okay, so please state your name and what project is here.
Jack Arbus, Synergy Building Solutions, I'm part of Peter Rotelli, business partner. And we are the applicants, pre-application, I guess, for a adaptive reuse of the Georgetown Lodge from its current use as a hotel to permanent. Had a package to the DRC, which included a number of important things, the architectural we're suggesting for the project, a refreshing upgrade to sort of historic / mountain modern architectural vernacular, while keeping, we believe, in line with the zoning, which is commercial at the moment. We're taking the front building that's at the gateway of the property and converting it to a useful commercial use. We'll get into that after. And then, while I know we're not here to talk about future use, but we are taking a portion of the north part of the property and suggesting that it be deed restricted for commercial use. Our plan is to investigate the use for an additional small boutique type hotel, not sort of one of the typical flagged, Motel 6, Holiday Inn, not that type, but more of a mom and pop type hotel. We've had some initial interest on that. Too early to tell exactly where that's going to go, but needless to say, we think that between the future plans there, but more importantly, what we show on our site plan is building D, that we will convert that to a useful commercial use, proper commercial use. So I'm not sure what the procedure is here tonight. I'm not sure the protocol. Explain it in whatever detail that you would like to hear. Answer any questions you might have. I'd like to sort of just say at this point that without being arrogant or bold, we feel that there's a need in this town. We've talked to many business owners about the need for affordable housing. The 2016 comp plan suggested there should be a strategy in obtaining workforce or affordable, attainable housing, depending on the definition you're using. And we're experienced developers. Again, we're not up here to beat our chest and talk about everything that we've done, but we've done a lot of this. We built a lot of apartments. We built a lot of multifamily, single family. We've done these conversions before. We have one actively under construction now and 3 in the pipeline. Very similar situation, mountain towns, desperate for affordable housing for their residents, to service the businesses in town. And we believe this is not only a great way to provide that need, we believe it's the only way. We know the cost of building new, we know the entitlement risk, we know the supply chain risk, we know all of this. We collectively between us probably built 7,000 or 8,000 units in our careers. My career's pretty great. This is just a few years less great than mine. But we've done a lot of this, and we're excited about the prospect of potentially doing something here in town. We think that the Georgetown Lodge is ready for an adaptive reuse or conversion. Without sort of being negative about it, it's an underutilized entire building. I don't think it services the beauty of this town the way I think we could, at the same time providing a really much needed affordable, attainable housing option for people. There's been one project in town at L Crossing, I think I have the name right. That was the first new project for housing in decades. It's not even close to affordable for people working in the service industry in this area. They're $500,000 plus homes. They require $70,000 to $80,000 minimum income to support a mortgage, not even including a $50,000 to $100,000 down payment, which most people have trouble with. So we're here not as white knights and saviors. We think this is a win-win for everybody, for the town of Georgetown, most importantly, the commercial component into
Sure, I'll give feedback since I had to look at the code. Thank you for coming. I know it's a delicate situation, and you're spot on. Our town desperately needs affordable housing, and so you were right, and you correctly assessed our comprehensive plan to address that. So I commend you for that. Where the issue lies is the code. And specifically, I know Jack and I have talked a lot about it, and it's the correct interpretation of the code. Our districts have different uses, like right by use, and then there's specific things that you can look for special use. So the hotel is a special use that's allowed in that. Where it gets hairy is residential component. And so after taking a lot of time to look through it, in fact, Jack and I have talked extensively about it, but I have a gut feel about it, and then I review it with the city attorney. What is the consistent interpretation of it is what we're going after. There's always a little bit of discretionary, but what's the consistent? You want to stay consistent with the code. Consistent interpretation of the code says it has to have a primary use of commercial. As a whole, so you have to take it as a whole. What's the primary use of it? It does allow for special use for residential multifamily, but where the code defers back to is the primary use. So then you have a subordinate use, which allows is supposed to be for multifamily, or allows for that option for special use. So I did not make a recommendation to approve or deny because it's the way that the code says. You've got to change it to make it majority a commercial use.
Majority or primary?
Primary can be interpreted majority.
Okay.
And we're not the group that can interpret that. I mean, that's a planning commission decision.
Yeah, and I agree with you. So one of the things that we felt and thought was, this is our plan, this is what we're looking to do. We tried to show you some elevations and materials and come to this board tonight to get an opinion on that, because we do realize that this isn't your decision-making capabilities on how to interpret the definition of primary. I will tell you, the one thing I loved that you said tonight was, you spoke, was this and I may not be accurate with my words, but is this a subordinate building? And in fact, the other building was larger, however, aesthetically, it was more prominent. So that's the exact interpretation that we're looking for when we define the word primary. Because to me, if they use the word primary and they wanted it to be a square foot, then they would have said majority of the space. Okay, so I took, now, it's something that we want to do, but I also think it's something that the town needs. And the reason I say that is working collaboratively together with the definition of primary and how that's interpreted and having a good sound basis for that interpretation, just as you guys did tonight. To me, now, I get it, I'm trying to convince somebody that doesn't have weight.
Right.
However,
We don't have
we're trying to
scale.
get really as many people in the town to believe in this. We have a lot of business owners that we've spoken with, and we feel that the more people that we have behind us, that interpretation, when it's time to be made, maybe will be more favorable.
But we essentially, I mean, as Rick said, well, first of all, we don't get to interpret that. I mean, that's just not in our realm of being able to, and what's going to happen is that it's going to get referred to an attorney to interpret in order to keep the town consistent.
Sure.
I mean, the town is full of volunteer commissions, and you can't let, one volunteer commission decide to interpret something one way, and the next volunteer commission to interpret a different way. So, I mean, I think I think we all know we need the affordable housing. I think we all know that area could really seriously use a rehab. I don't think we're disagreeing with any of those premises. Please understand this. We are not disagreeing with that premise. But we have to be consistent in what we do. I mean, we can't.
So, absolutely, and first of all, I appreciate that everybody takes the time and it's volunteer, and this is not easy stuff. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. This is probably, at least for us, this is a big deal. I'm sure it's not a small deal for the town as well. But I will say that we come before the design review committee because, number one, that's our understanding from talking to people in the town that this is the proper way to go, is to get then it goes to planning, then it goes to board of selectmen, then we get permits if we're successful, maybe if all of this is successful. So I think that's number one why we're here tonight, and we didn't go to some other step, and that's our interpretation of the way it's properly here. And secondly, we really do believe from the legal interpretation that we have as well, that we can make a compelling argument. There's no black and white here, but we can make a compelling argument about primary use. And then third, I want to appeal to people here in Georgetown that because primary isn't like a legally defined term someplace, that there's an openness to some interpretation and maybe even some creativity. And for this to really work, the town really wants this. There has to be some sort of creativity. And I'm not putting this on you saying that they're not creative. I'm just saying that in order for this to work, this is the only way it works. And I use Durango again as an example. That, when Peter first went down there and purchased this property, it was a hotel. It was a 1960s Holiday Inn, and the town was its own commercial, but we need affordable housing. How can we help? And they didn't open the doors and just say do whatever you want. It was a very rigorous process. It took a lot of time, a lot of money, but at the end of the day, we're ready to open it all this. Okay, and so the town was able to look at the law, look at the subjectivity of some of the code, and be creative and say, we've got a problem here bigger than a couple of words that are hard to find. And the win-win there of getting 57 new affordable homes here in town in months and not years. Just how long it's taken. A friend who bought a place in El Paso 3 years ago. Bighorn, sorry. Yeah, Bighorn. 3 years ago, and they haven't even broken ground. And he knows I'm up here, he's like, hey, you find out what's going on, then I have my own things to do. So, you know, I asked the design review committee to consider that. And I think if we're gonna get something resolved, a problem, not just we think is an opportunity, but it's every commercial business owner in town at least. That's why we came here tonight. Then we can get down to the hard work and the details that will lead if we get the planning and zoning.
So then you would come back to us with the actual materials, drawings, designs, and et cetera. Because you would have to get a special use permit from them before we could actually do a full review of the design. I don't think there's any doubt in anybody's mind that those buildings need to be rehabbed. So I'm sure that if you get that far, you can come back here and we will jointly make it work. But it has to go through the process.
So can I ask you a quick question, and I'm sorry, because I was finishing up some paperwork at the beginning and I was trying to listen, but, so you currently own. Because it's gonna show. Or you would own both of these projects, so you already do own that one?
It's one problem.
Okay.
It is one problem. We would go through a
And then you would build
subdivision.
this hotel later. This
Correct.
hotel will be later.
We would need to restrict that area.
Okay, and so on this building deed that says commercial use, what? There.
So our thought there at this point is a combination. It's like it's two stories. The top, there's a number one thing that we're doing here now is a work share and a co-work place. Like not WeWork. So, but a co-working operations that will not only be open to our residents, which could be good, but it's open to the public. And a lot of people we talked to, especially in the last 2 years of COVID, that are in the mountains. One of the complaints is that people that are out here, you know, either don't have the internet to see business, or they don't have an office, a place to go, that we think there's a market for that in town. So that would probably be the time range, and probably a more traditional, this part we haven't flushed out entirely, probably more traditional use on the main floor, maybe a restaurant, some sort of retail or restaurant. Those are tricky things, to work.
You need to make sure that that works. So first, I believe the second floor, the shared office space, is a lot of really incredible companies that do that, and it's open to a facility like the renters. There's also a component where there's a monthly fee, there's an office, it's modern, it has all the technology. It's great with everybody working remotely and everyone that's moving here. It gets them out of the house, it's really feeling like, you know, so that we're pretty solidified here. It's the first floor, we need to make sure that whatever we're doing needs to be successful, if there's demand for it.
And the litmus test we're trying to use.
The whole bottom floor, the old school just down.
Yeah.
there.
Normally, the Mevo option should be coming up here.
We think that the litmus test we want to do with the commercial use is not only viable commercial clearly, you know, at market, but it also serves the purpose to the residents. So.
So it's necessary for you to actually do this first stage before you do the hotel,
It is.
before you would consider.
We are not hotel developers. So this would require a sophisticated operator. That we either build it for, at least back, or
Just sell the
So,
property.
yeah, but we're proposing to be restricted, so that it would be commercial, period.
Yeah.
Rick, is this application going to go forward to the planning commission?
I don't know. I've got to look at it, because I know usually the process is here.
He means to say yes, but he's just taking a long way around.
What I would like to clarify, it's not a decision here. You can't make a
Right.
recommendation.
Right.
So it really does have to go to We would not have taken it here, we've gone straight.
No,
to-
Yeah, I was
the
kind of-
pla- No, the DRC always makes recommendations on special use permits to the planning commission.
Yeah.
They always do. We have a sheet for doing that. But if this is not, if this is not an appropriate application at this point for the planning, and that's the sheet you've got in front of you, is one of our decision sheets.
I don't know. if I
Design
have it.
review advisory matter.
Yeah, it's right there with Michael said.
With
Oh,
Margaret
okay.
said, well, because what the, usually we would go through this and we would make a recommendation to the planning commission on whether they should consider approving it, whether they should approve it with stipulations, or whether we feel they should not approve it. But if this application is not an appropriate application, I don't know how we make that advisory judgment.
The only thing I can think is the comment could be, at this point, we're not able to make any comments about the construction of the project. We defer, first, is this appropriate in your eyes as a special use? And if it is, therefore it gets kicked back here.
That's right.
Can I
Yeah,
make a
the legal issue
suggestion?
would have to get
Yeah.
resolved before.
Before we can
that's
do
all.
anything.
Yeah, can I make a suggestion or maybe a request is that I clearly understand what you're saying, and we understand that you're not the decision on the zoning. However, in lieu of us having to go from here to there, back to here, that you guys could make a decision pending, like that.
No,
No,
never happened.
no, I know, I don't.
But and if they said the zoning doesn't meet it, then your decision gets ripped up, it means nothing.
Yes,
I
but we
think the
couldn't
issue
make a
is-
decision on this
I think that,
anyway.
if I could comment, Cindy, I think the issue is this. Based on it is right now, it's highly likely that it'll be denied. So your best chance would be to punt it to the planning to see if this is even accessible. If it is, then you have a better chance for them to come back, because now they have legitimate guidelines, say we're gonna review it. Because right now, at this point, I don't think they are ready to recommend this,
Well,
because it's not their call.
our advisory matter, the questions that we have, some of them, our answers might not make, be very productive for you at this point. The effects of the proposed work, and use of the structure or area, and the use to which the structure or area will be put, would both couldn't say, you can't because it's
Yeah,
out of the
it's-
zoning. So it would be basically a recommendation anyway, because we have to know, like right now, as it is, it's not correct to put that business or property or whatever, where it would be. So our advice would be, it's not correct until the zoning is resolved. See what I mean? So if you can come back and say zoning says it's okay, we can get the special use permit.
Here's our architectural renderings. This is what we're-
Yeah, at least,
It's out of their jurisdiction, that's the problem, they can't make a call on something that they have no authority over.
Yeah, and I guess maybe I didn't word it properly. I'm not asking for that at all. I was just saying that to expedite the process, and the only reason like for the expediting one, I'm asking is we have a seller that, like,
right,
that, there's a timeline on it.
yeah,
And that's a fact of life. And the reality is I get however you feel, if they come back and say, yes, the zoning is good, aren't you gonna have the same comments now? that you
no,
would?
because the zoning will be appropriate. We have several questions that directly pertain to the appropriate use and of the area and the structures in it. And now, according to the zoning, those type of housing would not be appropriate in that area. So we can't just say, well, yeah, we think it'd be okay, if zoning says it's okay.
So, may I ask a question here?
Yeah.
Then, if I'm hearing this correctly and not being too presumptuous here, what we should be doing is preparing a package for planning and zoning. My mistake for actually coming here first when I should have been second, but this is how I thought it was supposed to be done. And so we would go to planning and zoning. It would be as if this never happened in a sense, right?
Well, kind of, it is appropriate for it to come here first. And then they usually make a recommendation to go there, but because it's a discrepancy where they can't answer that, because it would be denied at this point. They're gonna punt it to the planning and zoning to review to see if this actually is appropriate.
And I'm okay with that. I'm okay if we can take it to the next step and then hopefully come back and see it. That's fine. That's not a denial.
Well, you won't need us for that. Then, if you get the zoning okay, then we don't need to do this at all.
But wait, you
We'll be
need to
back at
come
some
back.
point,
You
yeah.
need to come
But
back
you'll
to
come
your
back with
design.
all of your drawings and exterior plans and materials and
Right.
landscaping, and we will
Which would
see.
be further down the road.
Well, but before you get too started, because we usually do on the project that large, there would be kind of a preliminary review,
Sure.
because we're pretty picky about materials and that type of thing, so you might come in with what you
We
want.
saw what was going down. Picked it up loud and clear.
Just
Yeah.
make sure that you're clearly understand. You couldn't have prepared to go to the planning zone first. It's not in the procedure of how we do it.
Okay.
So that would not be appropriate. It would have been, they would have rejected it.
So let's come here.
It would be, you have to come here first.
But you came here and we
And you
can't make
did,
a
you came here,
decision.
it's just this,
Can you direct us then of what needs to be done next to go to planning and zoning and what we need to do to prepare ourselves and be ready?
yeah,
We need somebody to define what.
that was the
is
thing.
primary.
The issue is primary and as a whole. Because even if I do just a face reading of this, when you say primary, and I look at your plan, and I see it does it just for the plain reading, is your primary use going to be residential? If the answer is yes, then it is denied. Because
Well, that's
it
the
says-
definition of primary. Primary means first. So it's the first building that you pull into.
No,
No,
Being-
that's not-
not.
No, that's when I asked legal advice.
Yeah.
That was not the consistent view or interpretation. So that's why I have to go to consistent view or interpretation, not just because right there, that would be an example of setting precedent. If you have it here, then we may be able to use that, but the consistent view is dominant, majority. That would be consistent view of primary. So when you say 4 buildings and you tell me 3 out of the 4 are residential, that's primary. So it's gotta be the opposite. It's gotta be commercial, then a subordinate use of, or you can have top use, residential, bottom use, commercial. So it's gotta be a model that would be consistent with interpretation. So even a plain reading, I can't do it. Now, we can get into a more legal reading of it, and maybe there's some wiggle room, but that's not my call, that's legal. Then it goes to the other part of how do you interpret as a whole? Are you talking about as a whole for that one building? Because if you read the code, it says your project as a whole. And so then, even then, it makes me go back, as a whole, is this residential out of the 4 buildings? Then it's basically says I can't do that in there. So I'm saying it is complex, which is why we're here saying this is not an easy one. We have to punt it to get clarity before they can even say, is this consistent with anything else around here? They just can't do that.
And that subordinate use versus the subordinate character, I mean, that came from either this book, I can't remember what you said, or book 2. That
Yeah,
definition.
primary or secondary, principal, secondary, accessible, accessory, even if you say principal structure, that's your main structure. Accessory structure becomes your like shed. So you can't come in and say, I'm gonna make the whole thing a shed, when the code clearly makes the differentiate between primary and accessory.
I understand that me, Jack, our attorney, feel that it's very compelling, and if the town wants it, okay, it's not a stretch, we're not trying to.
I don't think that's the question.
Yeah,
So-
that's not
The question is, we want that.
Yeah.
We
well,
need it, we want it. So that's not, I think the question really is the correct interpretation of what's allowed in that district for special use. That's what's at question.
And
And they don't have the discretion, the jurisdiction, and like that.
So we talked about punting it,
Yeah,
so, is someone gonna take a kick at it, or how does this work? I mean, how does it get punted?
so it'll go
You can hold the
to,
ball.
Isn't quite the right word, it's
It'll-
passive on.
we will take this, and if unless you want to change this and have your attorney come back with some legal, interpretations that are consistently interpreted like that, feel free to submit those plans. Second is, in the meantime, I will prepare another document like this to the planning board for their review. In my end on the preparing for that, I will have our attorney also look at the legal interpretation of that code so that they are prepared for the board, because the board will be just like this, they're expecting a recommendation. And so, yeah, they're gonna wanna look at a concrete definition of these things. So we'll have to get our attorney to look at it. I encourage you to get your attorney to look at it so that we can come and then they can, it's a courtroom hearing. So you have findings of facts, you gotta prove this, consistent view.
Gotcha. Yeah, we've been there plenty of times. We just need to know the process and how it works, and just to make sure, because every town's just a little different. And, like you said, we needed to be here, we couldn't have gone there. We feel like maybe we shouldn't have been here. So as long as we have a clear path that we understand, here's how you take here, and we'll take our licks whether it works or it doesn't work. Neither of us are gonna retire on this plan, and whether it works or not. We think it's a great opportunity. We take a lot of pride in what we do.
We have no question on that.
So like, but if it doesn't work, yeah, if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work, and we go on our way.
Until
guys.
the legal issue is resolved.
Yeah, so just know that the process, you can submit whatever you want for my packet to be created. They will make a decision if it's appropriate. That's it.
What's the timeline on you getting your packet?
So I can have it ready as soon as possible.
And I just want to add one more thing, and then you're getting tired of hearing it from us, I'm sure, but every time that we do go into a jurisdiction of some sort, really, there's the business, that everything has to be done properly, but there's also, we come into a town, in Denver, wherever we are, it's all, the initial meetings are always about, is this something the town wants, or whatever the jurisdiction is? And is there a way to get to the finish line that doesn't compromise the town or any other property owners or any other applicants in the past or in the future? And I get we have to do that. But I would suggest that without some sort of championing of this cause on some level, like, a strict definition of primary may not be as important as getting 57 new units quickly into our marketplace so we don't lose any of our businesses. That's the kind of thing I was hoping, or I am hoping it may happen. And I think without that, it may not happen, period.
So in your experience of doing this in other communities where you're providing these apartments that are affordable housing, have those remained affordable housing over time? Or have those become-
Well,
There's two
Yes,
definitions of affordable housing.
I want to make sure that, we understand. We're talking about the market rate obtainable housing, not truly under the Affordable Housing Act.
Right,
Okay, that's two different things.
yes.
The best word's affordable, but since it's related to Affordable Housing Act, it's interpreted, so we call it obtainable housing. Yeah, it's not section 8, and obtainable housing is, will it stay that way? Well, one, these are micro apartments, you're between 280 and 312 square feet. Okay, so
Doesn't seem to matter
well, yes and no, but the market is what's going to define the attainability. And with something that's that small, like I can speak directly to what I've developed in the past, is those rates go up with a nominal increment with a normal inflationary period. I understand in doubles and singles, that we've seen rents go 20%, 30%, and we build, we take the attainable, and then it becomes non-attainable. The uniqueness of this product, where, you know, our slogan is live small, play large, is that you have this beautiful outdoor space to do everything that you love in Colorado. And your space where you just rest your head is something that you can do economically, and you can put money in your pocket to spend on what makes you smile, what makes you happy. And that's the outdoor lifestyle that ever, you know, most of the, and we allow for dogs on top of it, which is like, yeah.
I want to say this too, just to make sure you understand and both sides. My role is to enforce the code. And I say that because that's the highest priority that it's put on me. Second is housing and affordable apartment multi-use is my expertise. I have a ton of experience with it. I am a champion for that, and I understand that we need that here. And I will do everything to do that, but I cannot compromise the code. So I can't be put in a position that I'm gonna fail, and I cannot let my town down. So my highest priority is to make sure our code is enforced. But I wanted you to hear, I've done 6 housing projects in Brush where we were able to do and work these things out, but I cannot compromise a zoning code unless we change the zone. And that could take 6 months. And the likelihood of changing is zero, that's spot zoning.
Yeah.
But even if we were to change the ordinance, that could take 6 months, and you'd have to have a consistent desire for that. So that's not an easy road either. So I'm just saying, I will work with you, but you're gonna have to understand, I cannot allow anything that our code is forbidden against. So that's where the.
We're not asking for that at all either,
Well,
so that's great.
that's why I feel like
We're not
your best
asking for that.
option right now is to let the legal team decide what is appropriate, and if that is. That's all we can do.
So we're gonna put our best pitch on with regards to our legals and how we feel the zoning's intent is and how we meet that with our plans. And your attorney's gonna review it, make a decision, yes or no. And we're either gonna say, we'll see you back here, or we're gonna say, we'll see you in another life. You know, like,
You know that.
pretty cut and dry.
You know that Loveland ski area, as many of you might know, which is a stone's throw, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
They rented a crappy little motel in Idaho Springs. It's $1,400 a month. People stuffed in there.
Yeah.
What's affordable? I think the market is telling us what affordable is. And we could give somebody something here in town, keep those dollars here in town. That's what we're trying to do.
We know that.
We agree, that's not the issue.
Yeah.
Put more shops in.
You need people for shops, you know, you put
That's
57
right.
people.
She's getting, I think that was facetious, right?
No, I think everybody would like to see, you know, affordable housing here.
Yeah.
Increase the,
Yeah.
you know, the workforce.
Yeah.
But
Oh, you're saying put more shops into allow.
Yeah.
The problem is, it's just, the economics don't work. It's not as if we're doing it from a greed standpoint. If it worked, we would do it.
Thank you very much for your time.
Good luck to you.
Hey, thanks for your time. Appreciate it. Maybe we see you, maybe we don't.
Thank you very much. I'll talk to you during the week about sort of. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Okay, so Clear Creek County. Still nobody for that? Do we need to table this? It's just a sign.
I think the two, we did ask about where the location of the sign is going to be, which is undoubtedly why it's back to us.
Yeah.
In general.
Just
one out about the-
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, wait.
You guys have anything to say about the lights on the actual charging stations?
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you guys have seen it, if you guys have anything.
No, I haven't, but I heard
the green.
the lights. Hey, everybody, we're taking minutes. Come on. We have sidebars.
The street light. Oh, we gotta have one conversation.
I know, right? Okay, no sidebars, we're taking minutes.
Oh, that's right.
It's hard to have conversations when everybody. So as far as the Clear Creek County Visitor Center sign thing, we did ask them originally when they were building the charging station about their signage, and so I'm assuming that this just came back to.
Yeah, I thought we had already approved.
Yeah, I kind of thought that too.
Yeah, we did all that last year sometime.
I'm very curious though, why these signs have to be 7 feet tall. I mean, I'm just curious, 7 feet tall is so
How
large.
high are stop signs and that kind of stuff? Is it?
Yeah,
probably
stop
scale?
signs aren't 7 feet, are they?
Oh, I would think every bit of it, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And they're
And,
thinking for
you
snow.
know, I hope they have asked CDOT because they're in CDOT's right of way up by the roundabout.
That's what this special use permit is, like, at the end of their part of the application.
Oh, so they've got, okay, good.
I don't
Because
consider that part of my recommendation.
Cindy, it says the sign will be at least 7 feet tall.
At least 7 feet tall.
Not 7 feet tall.
At least 7 feet tall. I like
So
that.
actually,
I must have accidentally
a minimum of 7.
So just for staff, minutes, the back part of my staff report's not on here. And at least my packet doesn't have it, does yours?
For
No, I
what?
think I forgot, I think I copied it single sided instead of double sided.
For this
For
application?
this one, the EV sign location.
Do I-
But I remember writing or looking it up saying staff does not have any issues as long as they do the appropriate channels to the county, but it looks like they did. So they went through the county as well to get the special permission from CDOT or whatever.
Yeah, you apply to CDOT to put a sign in there. right
So
away.
my recommendation, I mean, I don't have a recommendation, but it was no issues from staff.
No issues from staff. Do I have that?
So this says it already has a special use permit, so why don't we,
That's from CDOT, yeah.
okay.
They should do this. Or for the towns.
Okay, is there another paper around here that I don't see? For that?
For the
Advisory. Okay, got it. Nope, that's,
The decision form, the COA should be right there.
oh yeah, you know what, I wrote on it a while ago. I'm sorry, I got it. I'll have to I need that one tomorrow, Jen.